Joining me now is Dave Aronberg. He is a state attorney from Palm Beach County, Florida, and former Democratic member of the Florida State Senate. Good morning, Dave. It's great to see you. So the special master requested that Trump's team elaborate on those claims that he declassified these documents seized from Mar-a-Lago. They resisted that request. Why would they do so?
Yeah, good morning, Marni. It's because Trump's lawyers don't want to reveal that Donald Trump, their client, did not declassify the document. See, Trump's out there saying that he declassified it, but the lawyers haven't gone that far. The lawyers are saying, well, the documents may not be classified. The reason why the lawyers haven't said what Trump has been saying is because they could get in trouble. It's one thing for Trump to say this in the public. He can do that with impunity. But when lawyers lie to a court, they get sanctioned. And so it's very telling that they don't want to say that Trump declassified the document. So instead, they want to be purposely vague. And now they're resisting the special master's request to have them declare it because they know that if they told the truth, at least in my mind, they would get sanctioned.
It feels like, Dave, there's kind of this tug of war between who has the power right now, who has the win in court based on the judge's decisions and the special master's, inclination to deem one team, I need more from you, I need more from you. I guess I'm wondering if the resistance by the Trump team and by the former president with the special master's request strengthens the DOJ's case at this point. Is this a win for the DOJ?
I think so. This is another case of be careful what you wish for, because remember, the special master was Trump's idea. So now you have the special master who's holding Trump's lawyers' feet to the fire on this question of declassification. And if the lawyers said truthfully that, hey, Trump did not declassify the documents, well, that would be an admission. That would be something that could be used against Trump in court. And there are Fifth Amendment issues here, but the lawyers don't want to say, hey, we don't want to say it because of a Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. That would make Trump look terrible. So instead, they're trying to have it both ways. They're saying, well, we may use that as a defense later on, so don't force us to say it now. Now, if the special master, as I expect, really continues to hold their feet to the fire and says no, yes or no, and then goes ahead and issues a ruling favorable to DOJ, then expect Trump's legal team to appeal to Judge Cannon. They think Judge Cannon is on their side, and Judge Cannon is technically the boss of the special master.
What's been your read on Judge Cannon so far in the rulings that we've seen?
I've been disappointed. Trump traveled 68 miles north to Fort Pierce, away from West Palm Beach, to find this judge, because this judge is the only judge permanently assigned to the Fort Pierce courthouse. She's a Trump appointee. She was confirmed a week after the election, and she has just rewarded their faith in her by issuing rulings that I find are somewhat bizarre. Like, for example, when she issued a preliminary ruling in favor of the special master, even before the Department of Justice had a chance to respond to Trump's request. And then when she did her final order, giving Trump a special master, she went beyond that, giving Trump more than he even requested by issuing a stay of the investigation pending the special master's review. So all of this makes me really wonder what her motivations are. I am hoping that cooler heads prevail and she'll follow the law. But right now, she doesn't give us a lot of confidence.
This has been a saga since the very beginning. No surprise, Dave. How long do you expect that this will continue to go on before we have some sort of result?
Well, there's a November 30th deadline for the special master to finish his work, but he could finish it before then, and I think he will. But also you have the 11th Circuit appeal that's pending, and they are expediting it too. So for a lot of us who are concerned that this was going to be stretched out into next year, I think that we're starting to see that the judiciary is stepping up, is responding, realizing that we're dealing with matters of major national security concerns. And as such, I think this issue, the issues of these documents, the special master, the confidentiality, a lot of this stuff will be decided sooner than later. Then the big question is, when will DOJ make a decision whether to indict the former president? I would say that would happen after the election so as not to influence the midterms.
Yeah, the timing of this is so critical. And what about all of the redacted information in these documents? Will the American public eventually see this if charges are officially brought?
Well, that is a great question, because you see in these documents, there are issues of major national security concerns. Some of them are classified to the highest level, SCI code, and the public will never see that. And that also poses problems for the Department of Justice, because if they're going to pursue an indictment against Donald Trump, they're limited to what they can produce in court because of the sensitivity of the documents. So they're going to have to indict him and others. If they do, and somehow find a way to keep the core information private. So I think they can do it, but it does provide an obstacle in their way.
All right, continue to follow it, and it seems like a new development every single day. So Dave, we'll probably be having you back soon, sooner than later at least. Good to see you.